Hello and welcome to Back 10 by All Out Rugby League, powered by Smart Energy GB, leading the smart meter rollout across Great Britain. With a smart meter, you can tackle your energy use head on and find smarter ways to save at home. And don't forget, before we get into the show, like and subscribe, hit that hype button. Keep getting Kyle's so much better than me at this. Hit that hype button, swipe across, and make sure that we get out to the masses far and wide. We've got plenty to get into, and we're going to do it now. Let's get into the show. So then, we are once again joined by Steve McNamara, former Catalans coach, former England coach. We'll get onto that in a minute. But now, of the Warrington Wolves. Let's get straight into that, because one thing that got me with the press release, there was never a defined role.
Yeah.
What is the role?
Yeah, no fancy titles, nothing major. Don't need that. You know, I'm there to support Sam, support all of the staff, to try and make some improvements to everything that we do at Warrington Wolves. It's as simple as that. So, no ego about it whatsoever. It's a great opportunity for me. I actually, you know, I said publicly I wasn't going to take the next opportunity. It needed to be the right opportunity, and it feels so right for me, this opportunity. And sometimes you don't know why. Sometimes you can't quite put a finger on it. But I had some conversations with Sam early doors, and then with the club afterwards, and it all just sort of feels and fits right there for me. I think there's a great scope for improvement. There's obviously potential at the club. Everyone's talking about the potential, but there's clearly some things there that we can improve on, and that's my job there, to add all of my experience into those areas and see how far we can go and take it step by step.
How did it come about? Initial
conversation with Sam. Look, we go back a long way. You know, it's well publicised. We go back a long way, and we're just in a conversation with Sam. It was during the season. I visited the club during the season. It was just a throwaway sort of comment, and then that that escalated a little bit whilst I was out in Australia, looking at some things out there in Sydney and at the Australian clubs, and then when I returned from that, it sort of just picked up a little bit of momentum.
So I was just expecting you to go back into a head coaching role somewhere. And I think, to be fair, I think most people would, because you got a lot of experience of that and had a successful time where you've been. This isn't a head coaching role. We know that. So why what you said you won't go into the first one, but you go into the right one. Why is this the right one?
Yes, you're right. Sam's the head coach. So nothing changes there on that. This one, because I feel I can have the biggest impact on an organisation, on a club, on a team, by helping the Warrington Wolves. I think it's quite clear they've got very strong ownership. The people in charge of the organisation, the owners, are good people. I've met them. They're a team that's, look, it can beat any team in the competition on its day. You know, it's even shown that. You know, and look, it's been to two Chance Cup finals in the last 2 years. Probably third place, I think it was, in the competition just 2 years ago. But why is that club? Why has that team not been able to do that on a consistent basis, like the teams that have won the competition over the period of time have done? Not too dissimilar to when I went to Catalans. And Catalans was the same. Everyone said, "Wow, this team can beat anybody in the day, but they're the most inconsistent team in the competition." So I feel like there's a pedigree, a background, and understanding there from myself in terms of going into a position like this, going into a club like this, and understanding the things that are needed to then take you into that position. Because, you know, in reality, you know, go back to Catalans, so we ended up, the last year or so was difficult, but we ended up with 4 consecutive top 4 finishes. You know, a Super League leaders for a team that travels all across around the world. That doesn't happen by accident. You know, it doesn't. It's because of some of the things you implement. And I feel when I look at Warrington and speaking to Sam and what we can do and improve there, look, we just want to get better. And I think there's great scope to be able to help that team improve.
Is this a bit all-encompassing then, in that you know what a good organisation looks like as well, you know, and you've implemented stuff at Catalans, so, and you oversaw stuff at England as well, and the Roosters. So does this go beyond just helping Sam at the start of his coaching career and the team and the coaching? Does it go into pathways and general organisational stuff as well?
Well, I'm all in. I'll bring all of my experience to every part of the organisation that they need it, that they want it. If I can help in any certain way, then I'm there to do that. You know, I'll be moving across into the northwest. That'll be a bit of a shock after being in Sydney and Auckland and the south of France with this dreary weather in the northwest. But joking apart, I'm all in. That's it. So whatever is needed from myself, from that organisation, that they'll get that. It's really exciting. I'm super excited about this opportunity, and it's a little bit different, like you said, and everything else that goes with it. But I just think, like I said, the opportunity there is nice and quietly, nice in a nice calm way there, to try and get consistency throughout all of our organisation, and it's not just my job; it's my job to help support everybody in and around that, and for them to support me as well.
Right, 2 questions, and I know that you've probably only just had your foot in the door a couple of days, weeks, but you'll have made observations from the outside as well. So first question is this: what are Warrington doing right? And what are they doing right that means they aren't that far away?
I think what they've done right and what they're doing right, they've taken a longer term approach, haven't they, over the last couple of years in terms of their youth, the scholarship, their academy, the homegrown players. They've never had that. Like the teams that have dominated that traditionally have been Leeds, haven't they? They've done it. Wigan have done it. St Helens have done it to a certain extent. And it's no coincidence. They're the 3 teams that have won their... Well, okay, I've just pinched one off them, but they're not pinched, it's the wrong word, but they've taken one off them. I've done that through that. They've recognised that. They've seen that. And that is in place. I've seen a few of the young boys. I've been around the training ground the last couple of days and doing bits and pieces and bumped into a few of them. There's actually a real buzz from those young players. Like, I can sense it, you can feel it. It's actually really, really encouraging to see that from that. And there's a group out in Australia right now. That is what they're doing extremely well right now.
Okay, second question. Where are things not right, and what changes need to be made so that they don't have another season like last year?
Quite clear. There's no consistency whatsoever from the team, and that is the aim. Now, how do you get that? How do you get from being able to put in outstanding performances one week to being able to repeat that week after week, week after week? Because that's what the best teams do. That's why teams win competitions. That's why they are the best teams, because they can do that. So, okay, what is it we're doing on the field? What we're doing off the field? What we're doing in our everyday lives? How can we bring consistency to all of those areas? And it can be consistently bad as well as good. So it has to be, the standards has to be very, very high. And we adhere to that, and we aim to get that. And there'll be some casualties along the way, and there'll be some things that work and some things that don't. But if you do that, then you give you a chance of being successful on a game day. It's clearly there's some big areas of improvement for us, and we'll delve deep into that as we get started.
Last question. You went to Catalans wanting to create history, and you did that. You won the Challenge Cup, league leaders, 2 grand finals. Where would getting Warrington... I suppose for Warrington it has to be winning a grand final, doesn't it? They've won the Challenge Cups. Where would it rank if you can have a role in that coming to fruition?
Yeah, I think I've got to be careful here, because if I start saying about grand finals and everything, everyone comes out with the famous line, what they all come out with about Warrington. So it's actually... Yeah. I get the question. I think it's a good question, and that's the ultimate aim of every team, surely. Yeah. Every team that starts off, or maybe the promoted teams might, but everybody wants to win competitions. But you have to understand how and why of the teams that have done that, why have they done it, how have they done it, and what's common theme. And it's this consistency. You just can't get there without any level of consistency. So when we train, how we train, where we train, what we do away from it, all of the things like I said that go with it. Let's get all of that in order. Let's see if we can start improving our team, improving our performances week in, week out. And if we do that, then you start putting yourself in the category where you can compete. Because without doubt, with the young players coming through, the support from above, the things this club have done in the past have been so close in the past as well. Let's not beat around the bush. They've been, was it 4 grand finals, whatever it may be. That they've been there, they've had a close taste of it before, but just not got there. So let's try and go step by step right from the start.
Lastly on this, you mentioned in the show earlier in the week about Catalans, and that you talked about how the young French players maybe lost a generation because the things weren't right with the overseas players, and you were credited for really changing the culture of the club and the first team and everything like that. how, and you've alluded there to, being consistent on the pitch, off the pitch, everyday life. How important is that for Warrington right now? And how much improvement can be made, do you think, in that regard, that will help Warrington propel?
Lots, I think. Look, our job as staff is to provide the very best environment for those players to train and play and flourish and be the very best they can be. Mm-hmm. That's our job. We have to do that. How do we do that? We do that in various different ways, exactly. But you've got a group of players that really want to go down that avenue. Mm-hmm. You keep adding to that group of players that want to go down that route, either from within or from external. Mm-hmm. If you've got some players who don't quite want to go down that route, then it's important that you addition by subtraction.
Yep.
You can get stronger sometimes by taking some things away as well. So a combination of things there from us, but we've got to get these, and from everything I've heard there's so many of these players who they're actually really focused and driven to be the best they can be, which is great. We get everybody else on board with that. That's staff as well. Mm-hmm. That's administration as well. That's everybody aligned in terms of our programme, which was one of the things we did with the England programme, got some great alignment within our programme. And then you can start to make some real progression. So I think you can tell, hopefully you can tell, I'm really excited by it. There's lots to do there and lots of things to get into. But it's a project. It's an opportunity for us to make vast improvement if we continue to do things right.
Right, let's move into England because we've got an Ashes series coming up. The small matter of an Ashes series. I cannot wait for this. I'm
jealous.
I was going
to. Honestly, never got the chance to do it as the England coach. Played in one as a player, like a 3-match Test series, but never got a chance to do it as a coach. And wow, what an opportunity for everybody involved.
How will Shaun Wane be feeling right now, being the leader of a nation, of an England side that's going into a 3-week, 3-test battle with the Aussies?
He'll have all the emotions in the world, but ultimately he'll be focused on trying to get Saturday's game right, picking the right team, making sure the training's right, making sure the details right around going into that. So I think all of those emotions and everything else, he'll have probably had a lot of that building up. He's had a long time to get ready for this competition, and he'll have some emotions and feelings after the competition's finished as well. But he's probably getting himself into game mode and into that zone there right now where, because if you get distracted with some of that other stuff and what might not be and might not be, then you take your eye off what's important, and that's getting that 17 players right for that game this weekend.
I appreciate this question is going to be ironic and slightly hypocritical as well, but he named his squad last week, and everyone has an opinion on the squad. And you will know too well, because every squad you named, everyone will have told you don't know what you're talking about, and you've got this wrong, and you've had a shocker, and you should be out before the test even started. Same comments were aimed at Shaun Wane last week. But I'm still going to ask you, what did you make of the squad?
Right, first, I'll answer the first bit first. 100%, everyone's going to have a different opinion on it. What Shaun Wane knows, what we don't know, sat here, he knows inside out of everything that's happened. So you might say, well, why is Luke Thompson not picked? Well, he'll know, because he's been talking to him, working with him, seeing him, all of that. He'll know there might be something quite not right, or he's maybe not just in form, or all of that. You don't get that as a journalist, as a supporter, as a spectator, and you shouldn't. That's why it's great being a fan, because all you see is the names and your own opinions and everything else. So as the England coach, you've got a whole stack of other information there. From my side, would I have picked? Yeah, absolutely, because I don't know all the information he's got. Is there a couple of changes I would have made? Yeah, I would have, because that's the right of everybody's different sort of opinion. But that's why I understand it more than anybody and find it very hard to sort of comment on anybody individually or specifically, because I know how difficult it is and what goes into selecting a squad and the information, like I said, that he's got that we haven't got.
The phrase that he keeps being pulled up on is credit in the bank, because he mentions the likes of John Bateman, who he says he's got credit in the bank, a few others, and people just don't seem to be able to buy into that. You've had experience of being an international coach and selecting squads where there maybe is someone who's had a better season, but you've got that player who's been there. How difficult is getting that balance of going with the players you trust, or the player that you maybe don't know quite as much about, don't exactly know what you're going to get, and making the right call?
Yeah, It's hard, and it's even harder as the England coach because you don't get that much time to spend with other players there as well. It's not like the England Rugby Union or football team where you can spend lots of time watching them training in trial games, friendlies, all of that. You don't get that amount of time there. I'd probably just relate it back to probably anybody in any organisation or any business or walk of life. You probably have some certain people you trust 100%. You probably have somebody you go back to, if you've got a problem at work, or somebody, I don't know, some of that journalism, or somebody at like your university where he was at a mentor, whatever it may be. People have people they can trust. So if you use George Williams as an example, like you mentioned there, Shaun knows that on that stage, he knows what he's going to get from George, regardless whether his form's been great or not. And then so it is a really tough balance because Connor comes into the frame and everything, people like that in terms of what you can and can't do and where you can get to is a very difficult job. It's not an easy job. And the easy from public perception is, and I get it, I understand it, is no, don't pick that person, he's played better, he's got the man of steel, he's been this and that, but it's a team sport as well. That's the other thing. It's not an individual sport. If it's an individual sport, be a boxer, a tennis player, a golfer, it's a team sport. So putting all of those combinations together, like Michael Lewis has got to play. I'm saying that, he might not pick him, but I'm saying he's got to play. But what does Mikey need around him to be able to get the best from him? And that might be Harry Smith, it might be George Williams, it might be Jake Connor. But Shaun knows that. He's had time to look at that and work and hopefully work all of that out.
You've led me perfectly into my next question. He's already said George Williams will play. He's confirmed George Williams will start. Who, if we don't know?
Yeah.
For you, would it be Mikey?
For me, it would be Mikey Lewis. And again, I don't want to put things out there, but for me, it would be Mikey Lewis without a doubt. And one of the big reasons why it would be Mikey Lewis now to maybe what it wasn't 12 months, 18 months, 24 months ago, I think his kicking game's improved out of sight. Out of sight. He's gone from an average kicker of a ball to a very good kicker of the ball now, in my opinion. And the composure and the mentality to be methodical in terms of what he does and then get the balance right of when to inject himself into the game. So I thought Harry Smith had the jump on him clearly with his kicking game. And my last test match as the England coach, we beat New Zealand. It was 1-1 in the test series and we won 2-1. It was at DW Stadium. Matty Smith played, got man of the match, picked him for his kicking game in that game, and it helped get us home. We got man of the match. But Mikey would play alongside George, but then you look at how OKR play, he's relying on someone like a Tyrone May to own the middle of the field for him. So how does that work? Well, has he got a 13 who might do that? Has he got again, stuff there that we're not privy to, what the coaches will all be working through and getting from. But I'm sure whatever team he picks, they're in with a great chance this week, without a doubt.
I was going to ask you about your memories, but you just mentioned it. Can they win this series?
Yeah, they can. They can win this series. I get all of this, there'd only be so many England players would get in the Australian team. I get, it's not about the game being played on paper. If you'd have said that, Saints would have had no chance against Penrith in Penrith. Not a chance in the world, would in the World Club Challenge. That's, how everyone judges it. Games not played like that. International games aren't played like that. There will be 17 really hungry, passionate players from both teams playing against each other, maybe in wet weather at the weekend, maybe under different conditions, maybe with a referee that's going to referee the game, not rightly or wrongly, but differently to where the overseas have. All of these things come into play. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. And those group of players of Australia haven't played together as a team yet. The English players haven't. It's not straightforward, cut and dry. Everyone thinks Australia might do this. Not a chance. I think it'll be 3 really, really close games.
Oh, I agree. And I'd love a whitewash, but it'd be great if we get to Headingley and it was 1-1. That'd be some atmosphere if it was a decider at Headingley.
Yeah, look, I think all of them have something in them there. I think Wembley's Wembley. To start off your tournament at Wembley is sensational. Yeah, we played Australia there. I remember it. It was a great atmosphere. But to start off an Ashes series there, regardless of which way that game goes, Everton's I think everyone's so excited about Everton and the anticipation of that stadium. But there's going to be something to play for either way, whichever way one goes. And obviously we're all hoping that we get to Headingley on the last day and we're either smoking cigars 2-0 up or we're 1-1 and we're a chance of, sealing it. So, but yeah, anticipation is the biggest word there. And like I said, I'm not jealous. I'm envious. I think it's I'm envious. Go, wow, that would be great to be part of, and good luck to everybody involved in both those teams.
Just before we wrap up, your best memories have been England coach first and foremost. So you had some great success along that. I know there was some heartbreak too, but your best memories.
Look at the experience as a whole from start to finish. Taking a programme over that. And I was fortunate, like I was the assistant coach to Tony Smith when he was the head coach. So it wasn't the mistakes what we made. Like I was part of Tony's team. It was the difficulties faced as an England coach. I'm looking at it going, do you know what? This is like such a difficult job given where everything was at in the game at that stage. So actually being able to learn from that, being able to take over from Tony, but then being able to implement the changes that I felt was needed to the whole programme. So it wasn't just about the England team. I remember speaking to Stuart Pearce, who was England under-21s manager at the time, and he spoke to me about this two-team mentality, which we started to get in England, that they want to play for Leeds and Wigan and Saints, but they also feel they play for England. They feel like they're part of two teams, which was never the case. So we focused on the areas that we felt we could get the biggest area of improvement. We aligned the programmes together from 16s all the way through to the top. The best memory I've got is of the group of staff I had around me personally. It's a lesson I take forward all the time there now. And hopefully I can be this at Warrington as well, is to be such a valuable member of staff. Our staff, and we're talking internal at Red Hall, through, John Roberts, James Phillips, Barry John Mather, onto your assistant coaches, your head of performances, your physios, your masseurs. Everybody was sensational. And that, we took that team forward, took that group forward to a certain stage, and then it was somebody else's turn to take over. But honestly, I have no regrets from anything we did with the England programme. It's very hard to say one specific moment. It was just the joy of seeing a programme develop to that level.
As long as we don't get a Sean Johnson moment in this series, I can't. I'm still emotionally scarred.
That is how at top level international sport should be. The well stopped for me. For 5 seconds, I remember coming down the stairs. It was as if the well stopped. It was horrible. But ultimately, when you get involved at the highest level of sport, you're going to be on one side or the other side of that. That's why we love it so much. Mm-hmm. That's why it is what it is. That's why the hairs stand up when you're talking about it, because of those situations. I feel there's going to be a couple of those over this next 3 weeks.
Do you reflect on that moment at all? Or not reminisce, but rue, or look back and just wish you could uppercut him or anything like I do?
It was funny because when I went to New Zealand Warriors, I ended up working with Shaun, and we have a laugh and joke about it. Said, look, I reckon I think it was 19 seconds, or 21 seconds left on the clock from being getting a knighthood, from being a sustain, because I honestly felt at that stage like the team was in such good form. Like we played the best we've probably played for years in that game. We'd have rolled into the Australian game. Very difficult to see you'd beat them. But I remember going to Old Trafford, full house World Cup final. I think they got beat 40-0.
It was a thrashing, I remember.
It was an absolute hammering. And I just looked at that and thought, you know what? We would have given ourselves a great chance. But like I said, that's what sport at the highest level. Shaun experienced it getting beat by Samoa, didn't he? In the last World Cup. The other end of that scale of when you're expected to do something and you don't achieve something, that's horrible as well. So that's sport. That's why we love it. That's why we're involved in it. It kills us at times, but it gives us so much joy as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get nothing like that, and it's pure joy and elation this time around, and who knows, stranger things have happened. Steve, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for joining us this week. I know you'll be looking forward to the series as much as everyone else. Don't be, and hopefully not too envious.
No, I say that in the nicest way.
I know.
It's just like, wow, you'd love to be part of it. And, like, you're part of it, journalism, everybody's part of it when something like this happens. Just be there as a supporter now instead.
Indeed, that's what we all are really at the end of the day. Well, that is full time on this episode of Back 10 from All Out Rugby League, powered by Smart Energy GB, the team helping households across Great Britain take control of their energy use with smart meters. A smart meter lets you see exactly how much energy you're using so you can save where it matters. Until next time, we'll see you soon.